Tonight on The Buzz, we take a look back at last week's NAB show to see the significant trends and products that we were unable to cover on our NAB Show BuZZ podcast. We start with Jeff Stansfield. Jeff is the founder and CEO of Advantage Video Systems, and he shares his thoughts on key products and trends at NAB. Next, Kevin Waehner, the commercial manager for professional audio for Sennheiser, talks about the launch of their latest wireless audio product, the G4 Evolution. This hardware is targeted at musicians, filmmakers, and convention speakers. Next, Chris Bailey, the co-founder and CEO of FileCatalyst, explains what their products do to help transfer large files faster over the internet, along with their latest announcements from last week's NAB. Next, Wilson McCoy, the senior developer for Pronology, presents their product line for ingesting and managing media with a special look at creating reality TV. Next, Ali Ahamadi is the Director of Products and Marketing for K-Tek. He talks with us about their total product line, plus a new series of budget audio accessories that they launched at NAB. All this, plus James DeRuvo with our weekly doddleNEWS update. The buzz starts now.
Since the dawn of digital filmmaking,
authoritative.
One show serves a worldwide network of media professionals.
Current.
Uniting industry experts,
Production.
filmmakers,
Post-production.
and content creators around the planet.
Distribution.
From the media capital of the world in Los Angeles, California, the Digital Production Buzz goes live now.
Welcome to the Digital Production Buzz, the world's longest-running podcast for the creative content industry, covering media production, post-production, and marketing around the world. Hi, my name is Larry Jordan. Last week at NAB, we talked with 88 different companies that create products or services targeted at filmmakers. But we couldn't talk with everyone. So this week and next, we're talking with companies that we just didn't have time for at NAB. There's a lot of interesting products that we'll be covering over the next 2 weeks. But before we start, I want to invite you to subscribe to our free weekly show newsletter at digitalproductionbuzz.com. Every issue every week provides quick links to the different segments on the show, plus articles of interest to filmmakers. Best of all, it's free and comes out every Saturday morning. And now it's time for our doddleNEWS update with James DeRuvo. Hello, James.
Hello, Larry.
So what you got that's new this week?
Well, we're back from NAB, and there's still a ton of announcements and information that we're still going through. So I thought I'd take this week and hit some of the stories I thought were particularly noteworthy. Plus, there's some bad news out of YouTube.
Okay, what's the lead?
Remember last week we talked about Atomos and Apple introducing ProRes RAW. It's future-proof to record 8K 12-bit RGB between 80 and 140 megabytes per second, up to 240 frames per second. File sizes are going to be about 120 minutes for a 2 terabyte hard drive. It's supported by Panasonic EVA1, the VariCam LT, Sony's FS5, FS7, and FS7 II, and Canon Cinema C300, C300 Mark II, and the C500. And DJI has also announced it will be supporting the codec in their drone-mounted cameras. This new codec is available now as a firmware update for both Atomos Ninja Inferno, the Suma 19, and the future update will happen with the new entry-level Ninja 5 external RAW recorder.
I know that you had an interview with Jeremy Young, who's the CEO of Atomos. What did Jeremy say about this?
Well, Jeremy called ProRes RAW for the masses because the RAW workflow is ungainly and very difficult to convert and encode. He says that ProRes RAW combines the near lossless data capability of RAW, but gives it the flexibility of ProRes. And Young says that the ProRes RAW gives a ton of great options without sacrificing the brightness, color, and shading detail. And after seeing some of the test footage, I believe him.
All right, so that's ProRes RAW. What's our number 2 story?
More bad news coming out of GoPro. GoPro Nick Woodman has stated that he's open to a company purchase that will allow the brand to continue and grow. And it looks like Xiaomi may be the white knight that's going to come to their rescue. 15 times the revenue as GoPro, Xiaomi could easily buy the struggling action camera company, which analysts say could go as high as $1 billion. And they're basing that off of the rescue that HP did of Palm about 10 years ago, where the company was struggling. HP came in, bought Palm, and basically bought it just for the operating system. And now the WebOS operating system can be found on everything from streaming media boxes to phones. It's really kind of interesting. And some people were wondering if DJI might come in and buy GoPro, and DJI just said it wasn't interested because it saw no value in the company. Ouch.
Why is GoPro in such a tough position right now?
The problem is that the market is saturated not only with lower-priced action camera clones, but even their faithful clientele already have several versions of the camera. I myself have 6. And GoPro is trying to drop the price to compete, and they've introduced a new entry-level model for under $200. But all that may be too little too late, and a buyout could be their final last option.
Okay, that's GoPro. And what's our third story?
Well, we got bad news out of YouTube. We've heard that many top YouTube content creators are losing complete faith in the platform to the point where they just don't think they can survive. One popular YouTube creator's name is Philip DeFranco, and he says that not only do the monetization policies make it almost impossible for beginning channels to make money, but there's also a mysterious secondary suppressing algorithm that seems to be causing videos from established YouTubers like himself to disappear completely from the recommended, trending, and watch next tabs. And as it learns, it seems to be getting worse as it causes up to 500,000 drop in views depending upon the subject matter. It's gotten so bad that DeFranco, who has over 6 million subscribers and 2.2 billion views, now says he doesn't think the channel can survive with the current system, and he's not alone in that opinion.
So what do you think is happening?
I think that YouTube is getting into pay services now. They've got YouTube TV and YouTube Red as subscriber services offering live streaming TV. People are paying for these models, and that streaming portal is finally starting to see some profit. And on top of that, advertisers have been threatening to pull their ads unless they encourage more channels offer ad-friendly content, much like on regular television. So YouTube just can't come out and kill millions of channels in favor of their most popular and vanilla content creators, but they can make it so frustrating that creators like DeFranco and others simply give up and take their content elsewhere. And DeFranco is already starting to build his own channel that will compete.
So that's YouTube. What other stories are you following this week?
Other stories we're following include, we take a look at some other great products we didn't get to talk about at the NAB, how you can use your DSLR lenses with your iPhone. And could there really be a must-have cinema lens out there for just $50?
And where can people get all these stories?
All these stories and more can be found at doddleNEWS.com.
And James DeRuvo is the editor-in-chief of DoddleNEWS and joins us every week. Thanks, James.
All right, see you next week.
Here's another website I want to introduce you to, doddleNEWS.com. DoddleNEWS gives you a portal into the broadcast, video, and film industries. It's a leading online resource presenting news, reviews, and products for the film and video industry. DoddleNEWS also offers a resource guide and crew management platform specifically designed for production. These digital call sheets, along with their app, directory, and premium listings, provide in-depth organizational tools for busy production professionals. DoddleNEWS is a part of the Thalo Arts community, a worldwide community of artists, filmmakers, and storytellers. From photography to filmmaking, performing arts to fine arts, and everything in between, Thalo is filled with resources you need to succeed. Whether you want the latest industry news, need to network with other creative professionals, or require state-of-the-art online tools to manage your next project, there's only one place to go: doddleNEWS.com. Jeffrey Stansfield is the president and CEO of Advantage Video Systems, which he launched in 2001 to provide technology solutions to the broadcast, motion picture, television, and motion graphics industries. Jeff has also served as a general board member, treasurer, and secretary of SMPTE. Hello, Jeff. Welcome back.
Hey, Larry. Thanks for having me again.
It's always fun talking to you. Jeff, there's two things I want to talk about. One, I want to talk about your company, but I also want to get your perspective on what happened at NAB. So let's talk about your company first. How would you describe Advantage Video Systems?
Well, in a simple word, we're a systems integration company. We put all the stuff together. We sell all the technology and we install it and we configure the technology for people and make it all work so that they're happy and are profitable.
Who do you consider your typical customer?
Our customers are anybody in the media entertainment business. So we've built over 250 TV stations in our 17 years. We've built some of the largest video podcasting studios. We do post-production facilities, production workflows, VFX houses. We do render farms, shared storage, asset management, that kind of thing.
And what did your company do at NAB?
We were at NAB for a couple of reasons. We love NAB, by the way. A lot of people say the trade shows are gone, and we say that they're not. NAB was a chance for us to meet with a bunch of new clients and then meet with some of our old clients. We have a lot of clients who come from all over the world to see the technology that we sell and integrate with them.
Well, you made an interesting comment. Some people are saying that NAB is past its prime, but you don't think so. Why not? Because
it enables a lot of clients to actually see the technology running. You can go online and watch a YouTube video of all this of this technology, but it's a totally different thing when you can sit in front of a system that is running the technology and sit with an engineer and discuss the property. Most of the people who come to the show are not looking to buy a $10 iPad cover. These people are integrating big systems that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. These hundreds of thousands of dollar investments are important to know the technology and see the technology. So if you're interested in seeing a Skype server that the company comes all the way from England, or an asset management from Synergy that's in Germany, or any of this technologies that's at the show, or even to see some of the local technology like LaCie and Glyph and some of the lower end stuff, but to be able to physically see the stuff, and play with it and then talk with the engineers and the people who run it makes a big difference. And then there's also the professional relationships that you meet, and to be able to interact with those people and all the different colors, to come together and talk with your peers on a national level or even a global level in that aspect is also very important. So it's not just exhibits and the post-production world and some of the other courses and technologies that people come together from all over the world to do. And then there's a number of other things, that allow people to come together and see the technology.
Well, let's take a step back. I'm interested in your opinion on two things. The first is significant products, and the second is significant trends. What significant products did you see at NAB, focusing again on production and post?
Some of the significant products that came out were for post-production was on HDR. There was a lot of new stuff on high dynamic range that was coming out. New TV Logic had some brand new HDR monitors that they were showing that were really low cost and very powerful. And there was some other companies that came out with HDR workflows. Also, IHSE and Adder and ThinkLogical all came up with some new products. In today's post industry, one of the biggest trends is to create a post facility that is Motion Picture Association compliant, MPA compliant. And to do that, the one most important thing that they want to see is that the computers are out of the workstations. There's no computers sitting on the workstation so that people can steal data. All your computers and all your data is locked up in a secure server room. So distance-based KVM systems through companies like IHSE and Adder and ThinkLogical enable you to take all the computers and servers and put them all in a computer room, and all you have on your workstation workstation is a keyboard, a mouse, a monitor, and maybe a drawing tablet or a color tablet. And that enables you to have that security. It also enables you to be able to walk to any bay, and that bay can become any computer. So that, some of that technology was some of the new stuff. And there was a lot of other stuff. I mean, I can go on, and we don't have enough time to go over all the technology that was new.
In fact, what I want to do is just the opposite. I want to have you take another step back and share with me your thoughts on what the trends are, not just the products, but what are the trends are that caught your attention, not just trends that are growing, but trends that seem to be diminishing.
Well, one of the trends that are growing, and there was a whole big area in the North Hall that had this, which is IPTV. That's a huge growing section of technology, and there was a myriad of companies showing their entry products into this new way of delivering technology. And the whole broadcast industry, the whole entertainment industry is changing into IPTV. They're going away from SDI. They're going away from traditional ways of delivering content, and they're going to go IP. So there was a whole IP pavilion that was on the North Hall that was really interesting. So that was a very, something that's growing in technology. Things that are kind of shrinking in technology at the show, and I know it's still a buzz thing, but VR and 360 was so prevalent last year and really shrunk this year to almost nothing, because I think the industry is rethinking what they're doing in this area, because most of the people are getting a little bit frustrated with all the problems of 360 and VR and HD, VR and immersive reality and all that stuff. Because there's nothing that's really new that's coming out, and the stuff that's out is kind of getting outdated and bogging down, kind of like what happened with 3D video. People got tired of wearing glasses or bad or shifting video, and I think that there's a push to rethink what we're doing in that atmosphere. So that was kind of like a pullback a little bit on the technology, and then IPTV is what's being pushed forward.
Now, IPTV is where we're able to deliver video over IP or audio over IP, as well as KVM, keyboard, video, and mouse, is also over IP.
That's a different thing. It is over IP. So delivering your workstations over IP is one thing, but broadcast delivery of products over IP, doing an internet protocol, to deliver television anywhere in the world without having to go over the air or go over coax cables or SDI cables and stuff like that. But to go IP is a growing trend in the broadcast and entertainment industry, and is where that everybody's going. I mean, all the big companies, NBC, CBS, ABC, Disney, Hulu, everybody is going to go IP, and they've announced that they're going to go, and they're just trying to work to sell the small affiliate stations all over the world to switch to that as well. And as soon as the world switches, everything will be much more easier to work through, and the workflow will be much better.
We've read a lot about Dante, which is audio over IP. We're reading about video over IP, where we're replacing an SDI cable with the video cable.
Exactly.
And that's used in control rooms and production, so we can even have remote control rooms from the studios.
Yes.
When I hear video over IP, I'm thinking of production technology. When you're saying video IP, you're thinking distribution of final product over IP. Is that correct?
It's both. It's in the production, it's in the post, and it's also in the broadcast. It's all three of those.
And Jeff, for people that want more information, where can they go on the web to learn about you and your company?
So my website is advantagevideosystems.com. That's advantagevideosystems.com, or they can email me personally at jeff@advantagevideosystems.com.
That website is all one word, Advantage Video Systems, plural, advantagevideosystems.com. And Jeff Stansfield is the founder and president of Advantage Video Systems. Jeff, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me on, and we'll see everybody at NAB 2019.
Thanks, Jeff.
All right.
Kevin Waehner is the commercial manager for professional audio for Sennheiser, based in Old Lyme, Connecticut. Kevin is part of the wireless audio group for Sennheiser. Hello, Kevin. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate the opportunity.
It is wonderful to have you on, and we've all heard of Sennheiser, so tell us what your group does.
Oh, well, my team is professional audio, and we specialize in wired and wireless microphones and some professional headphones that are good for everything from live performance, broadcast, worship, corporate events, mobile journalism.
You describe this as professional audio. How does Sennheiser differentiate between professional and non-professional?
Well, we also have a group that builds consumer headphones for listening, for everyday enjoyment. My team specializes in professional tools that are designed for content creators to ensure we're building the highest quality work, whether it's a band in a garage all the way up to a Broadway show or the Super Bowl.
Well, you guys just announced some new gear at NAB. Tell us about it.
We did. We launched a new series for Evolution Wireless. We're now in Generation 4. Evolution Wireless has been sort of a time-honored staple for production over the last 10 years. We've had Generation 3, and we're really excited to unveil Generation 4. We had the portable series being shown at NAB. And it's a fantastic series. It's very versatile. And again, sort of this speaks to our team's mission. This series can be used for anything from live performance to broadcast to worship to mobile journalism, ENG, film, you name it.
Well, I think I was checking my audio cabinet earlier today in anticipation of this interview. I think we had a Generation 1 Evolution Wireless. So, I mean, wireless is wireless. Microphones are microphones. What's all the new technology about?
Well, I'm so glad to hear you're still using Generation 1. And the great thing about the Evolution platform is it is completely forward and backwards compatible. So a new purchase will work with something that was purchased 10 or 20 years ago, which is wonderful. But what's new today is, for content creators and people in production, the challenges keep increasing. There's less wireless spectrum available to use for wireless systems. There's less time for production, so everything has to be faster, smarter, more versatile, more flexible to make sure that you get the job done. At the end of the day, it's all about capturing great audio, whether it's for audio's sake or to go with video. So G4 does exactly that. We've for the series, we typically break it into 3 lines. There's a 100 series, a 300, and a 500 series. At the 100 series, we've made it a lot faster to set up, where you can link up to your 12 channels together. You can do now one auto setup for all 12 systems, as opposed to having to do 12 individual setups. So that's going to save you a lot of a lot of time for setting up your show. For our 300 and 500 series systems, one of the challenges I mentioned was that there is shrinking spectrum that people have available to use. So what we've done with these series is we've expanded the tuning dials. So we have, with the most recent series, G3, you had 42 megahertz worth of frequencies you could tune from, and now you have up to 88 megahertz. So with more congestion, a wider tuning dial allows you to make sure that you can find a clean frequency to operate on with greater ease and more flexibility and safety. So very cool features that make it easier to get the job done, to capture great audio out in the field.
One of the challenges that the wireless industry is going through is the FCC sold some spectrum, which means that a lot of wireless systems don't work. What do filmmakers need to know about this?
Yeah, this is a great point. The FCC is reallocating some spectrum that's been used for both broadcast transmission and for wireless microphones over the years for cellular services. In these instances, there are many operators out there that have systems that will no longer be legal. What you would want to do to check your current equipment is on each of the various pieces, you will see printed on, for example, the back of a receiver or inside the battery flap on your transmitter, there was typically a frequency range printed on it. And you want to check that to make sure that it is within the realm of what will be legal going forward, both to make sure that you're within compliance, but also to make sure that you're not getting interference from all the cell phone activity that's in your area.
So I'm going to test you. Do you remember what the frequency range that's illegal is?
I certainly can. Well, first I'll start with what is legal. 470 megahertz all the way up to 608. That has always been available and continues to be available. So 608 megahertz will be the new cutoff for wireless. The area that has been affected that operators need to be aware of and switch out of is going to be from 608 megahertz all the way up to 698 megahertz.
And if you've got older gear, are there trade-ins from Sennheiser?
Absolutely. We have a trade-in program. It's been running about 9 months, and we're going to continue running it at least through the end of June. And a user would just have to buy a new system, and they can send us their old one in for a rebate back on their purchase.
All we need to replace is the receiver transmitter. If we have microphones that plug into it, the mics will still work, correct?
That's absolutely true. Yeah, you can keep all your old headsets or lapel mics. And if you have, for example, an Evolution G3 handheld system, you can unscrew the capsule and keep it, and just buy a new transmitter and receiver set and have the capsule as well as a backup. And
Kevin, for people who want more information about Sennheiser's wireless products, where can they go on the web?
We invite everybody to come learn about G4 and all the 600 megahertz spectrum information on Sennheiser.com.
That's Sennheiser.com, and Kevin Waehner is the commercial manager for professional audio for Sennheiser. Kevin, thanks for your time. This has been fun.
Thank you so much for having me tonight.
Bye-bye. Chris Bailey is the co-founder and CEO of FileCatalyst. This is an Emmy Award-winning software platform that accelerates large file transfers over the web. Hello, Chris. Welcome back.
Thanks for having me, Larry.
How would you describe FileCatalyst, the product?
FileCatalyst is a file transfer acceleration software, and you need a way to move that data around. And without an accelerated tool like FileCatalyst, you can take days to move a single 2-hour clip, whereas FileCatalyst accelerates it and allows you to move it in a matter of minutes in some cases. So that's kind of the high-level overview of what exactly we do.
Chris, is your product targeted large studios that are distributing consumers, or is it targeted more toward the production and post-production industry that are moving gigabyte-sized files? Who's a customer?
Directly, it's the larger studios and networks in post-production, so the back end, but indirectly, it's still the consumers.
Where's the bottleneck? Is the bottleneck in my upload speed, or is the bottleneck in the way that the internet processes large files?
It could be your internet speed. So everybody uses the web, everybody uses email, and it's all built on a protocol called TCP. Many people might have heard of TCP/IP, or they might know HTTP because they type it in their web browser. That protocol was designed back in the 70s and was designed to be very reliable, but wasn't necessarily meant for high-speed bulk transfer of data, and certainly wasn't designed for the high speeds that users have today, like gigabit to the home, etc. So the way that protocol works is more like a sequential conversation where you have to pass a piece of data to a person, then you have to get a reply before you start to send more. And as the geographic distance grows between locations, you spend a lot of time waiting to hear back about what data was received before you can send new data. So if you picture that in terms of exchanging files, little bits of the file go across and you sit there doing nothing for potentially fractions of a second, but that adds up to a lot over the course of a transfer. And instead of actually sending constantly to use up your entire internet speed, now what FileCatalyst does is it makes use of that entire internet speed the entire time. So as geographic distance grows, if you're sending from New York to LA, or then maybe New York to Tokyo, then suddenly you start to get dramatic speed improvements because the traditional ways, FTP or TCP-based protocols like HTTP, they slow down as you get further and further away, whereas FileCatalyst does not.
Does the person sending the file have to have FileCatalyst at both ends?
Correct. So it has to have FileCatalyst software installed on both ends. And typically, the way it works is we have a web plugin. So if someone wants to send files via FileCatalyst, they'd browse into a FileCatalyst-enabled web page, which would install a little plugin, and then you could send the file in an accelerated manner to the other end, which is a FileCatalyst server.
What internet upload speed do you consider to be the minimum to take advantage of your software?
Well, it's changed over the years. We started back in 2005, and 10 to 45 megabits was kind of the high end. But nowadays, depends on your geographic location. If you're inside of a state, then maybe 100 megabits. But as soon as you get across the country, then maybe even 45 or 50 megabits. Certainly anywhere in the world, 100 megabits or higher. There's also other factors at play as well. It depends on the type of network you're on. If you're on DSL or cable, you'll have different issues that impact your speed than if you're on a Wi-Fi network or a mobile network. So the answer is it depends, but that's kind of a rough idea.
Tell me what you announced that's new at NAB.
Well, NAB was all about us kind of refining what we had and also providing new ways to access the technology. So, for example, we used to have desktop applications that were, they're a little bit dated, and we provided all new web-based UIs that allow you to access the software from remote locations via your web browser, mobile phone, etc. So we've updated it all, made new templating mechanisms so that customers of ours can take those applications and brand them, so you can provide an upload portal to your customers or your users to come in and they only see your brand instead of seeing the FileCatalyst brand. And just refining the process of installation. So when you come in for the first time, you've never used FileCatalyst, we make it a lot easier for you to onboard and not have to be a real technical user. We've also noticed a trend over the last several years of the shift towards cloud and SaaS-based services and consumption-based services. So traditionally, we would license our software based on a perpetual license. You buy it, you own it, you install it on your hardware, and then you pay an annual support and maintenance. So we've shifted, not so much replaced, but we've shifted our focus more to a consumption model, more like a utility. So you can actually get our software for free, and if you only move a small amount of data here and there, you can pay us per gigabyte for the amount of data that you moved. And then on the cloud side, within Amazon AWS or Microsoft Azure, we're in their marketplaces, and you can actually start our software on an hourly basis as well. So if you don't have the IT infrastructure in-house and you wanted to start it up, then you could go to one of those clouds and fire it up for a pretty nominal cost. So those are the main things we've done, in addition to a couple of partnerships as well, but I don't want to get into those. There's way too many.
And for people that want more information about FileCatalyst, specific pricing, or how it works, where can they go on the web?
Just go to our website. In fact, the models that I mentioned, the cloud models, that's all publicly available. Go to the Amazon Marketplace or Azure Marketplace, search for FileCatalyst. It's all there, all their hourly pricing. Per gigabyte pricing, I can tell you it starts at 35 cents a gigabyte, and depending on how much data you transfer, it goes down. And that matrix of how far it goes down is also available on our website.
Which is?
FileCatalyst.com.
That's all one word, FileCatalyst, FileCatalyst.com. And Chris Bailey is the co-founder and CEO of FileCatalyst. Chris, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Larry.
Wilson McCoy is the senior developer for Pronology. He's been with the company for 5 years. And at Pronology, he helps customers tailor their media asset management software to their needs. Hello, Wilson. Welcome.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
How would you describe Pronology?
Pronology is a software company that creates asset management and encoding tools made with broadcast professionals in mind. We have offices in New York, Los Angeles, and Portugal, and we've been around since 2011. Our tools are designed by video experts. We try to make them intuitive as possible without sacrificing performance.
Intuitive is always in the eyes of the beholder, I think.
Absolutely.
What was it that got you personally interested in media asset management?
It was actually the way that I discovered the job. It was a posting on the internet that said, work with television and in the broadcast industry. And that seemed much more exciting than other things I was doing at the time. I kind of stuck with it for a while, just working in the trenches as a software developer. And now we're working with large companies on very exciting projects.
I want to talk about your new news at NAB, but first describe what the Pronology software does.
So Pronology has 4 products. Our first one is MRes. It's a award-winning multi-resolution encoder. It writes to an uncompressed internal loop. That gives us a couple major advantages, being flexibility and reliability. Flexible, because we write uncompressed. That means we're able to export the media from that loop into a number of different codecs. You're not locked into a single codec. And reliability, because if something happens, say your storage goes offline, you still have that backup data in the loop. Another one of our products is Centerpoint, which is our comprehensive asset management platform. This is used to acquire, manage, and orchestrate media and workflows. It integrates with lots of third-party tools as well, such as generating files for use in Avid and Premiere, as well as LTO and distribution to third parties like YouTube or Vimeo. 2 other of our products are a bit lighter weight. We have Screener, which is a lightweight MP4 encoder. This is used to replace traditional DVD screener copies. It also includes features for watermarking, so that you can copy protect your media that would normally be distributed on DVDs. And finally, StreamFile Core, which is our latest edition, which encodes IP streams over a network into DNX, ProRes, and other file formats.
Well, let's focus on the first 2, and those are the encoder and the media asset manager. One of the concerns I've got is if I'm on set shooting, it's not unusual. If I'm doing a 4K file in RAW, I'm generating almost a terabyte of data a day. And now, in order for you to be able to work with it, you're going to have to transcode that into an uncompressed format. My storage needs are going to explode. What do you see as the market for this first product?
Well, the way that this MRes works is it's receiving baseband in and writing it to internal uncompressed. So you don't actually have to transcode at any point. It's all an encode. So there's actually only one step in that process.
So where do you see that product fitting in the marketplace? Is this something for people that are doing distribution, or is it something for people that are doing image creation?
This is typically used on the production side in image creation. So lots of our uses so far, because of our reliability, are in 24-hour reality television shows. That's a major component. Because of the internal buffer, this allows the production to stop recording when all of the contestants are asleep or something like that. And then when they see some activity, they don't have to run to hit the record button. They can go over to the control panel and say, all right, I see a person just woke up. Let's go 5 minutes back and start there. And that buffer lets us export that audio from a time in the past because it's still on the buffer.
So basically, you're taking the video feed from the camera directly into your software and encoding at that point, rather than creating video at the camera and then transcoding it.
Exactly.
Then tell me about the media asset management system.
So Centerpoint is our asset management system. It's got lots of components. One of the main ones is the ability to view and manage all of your media from anywhere in the world using our simple web interface. It was designed with production in mind. So it's made so that a producer can log in and view and review notes and web proxies of their primary assets, and using our orchestration and workflow tools can create subclips or even string outs and send them directly as AAF files to edit bays.
Well, this very simply can also describe, I can think of a half a dozen other media asset management systems that we saw at NAB. Why should someone consider Pronology?
I think the biggest thing for us is reliability. We make easy-to-use products. We have a proven track record in terms of both reliability and easy-to-use products, and they're all designed by industry professionals. Every person who works at Pronology goes on-site to productions, for everyone from vice presidents all the way down to beginning engineers. So everyone knows this broadcast world. And that's critically important so that the engineers understand how these tools are going to be used in the real world. And I really think that sets us apart.
How is Pronology priced?
Our platform and products, our two main products, Centerpoint and MRes, are priced based on customers' desired workflows and needs. And our other products, Screener, is an entry-level product priced at $3,500 for a 2-channel box. And StreamFile Core, our IP ingest tool, is going to be released in the coming month, and pricing will be established then.
What would you consider to be a starting price range for your MRes and asset management? Are we talking tens of thousands of dollars or hundreds of thousands for a relatively small work group?
For a relatively small work group, a 4-channel MRes box would start around $35,000. And a asset management platform installation would be in the $60,000 to $80,000 range.
And when you say 4-channel, that means it can handle 4 cameras.
Yes, that means it can receive 4 cameras in at a single time. It has 4 separate loops internally, so 4 separate buffers. And that 4-channel machine has about a 5-hour loop internally.
So you use the word loop to mean it can record up to store up to 5 hours. And then when that 5 hours is filled, it just keeps refilling it.
Exactly.
Over and over.
It eventually writes over the oldest frames.
Cool. For people that want more information, where can they go on the web?
You can visit Pronology.com. We have more information about our products as well as any events we're attending, and you can send us an email from there.
That website is Pronology, Pronology, Pronology.com. And Wilson McCoy is the senior developer for Pronology. And Wilson, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
I want to introduce you to a new website, Thalo.com. Thalo is an artist community and networking site for creative people to connect, be inspired, and showcase their creativity. Thalo.com features content from around the world with a global perspective on all things creative. Thalo is the place for creative folks to learn, collaborate, market, and sell their works. Thalo is a part of Thalo Arts, a worldwide community of artists, filmmakers, and storytellers. From photography to filmmaking, performing arts to fine arts, and everything in between, Thalo is filled with the resources you need to succeed. Visit Thalo.com and discover how their community can help you connect, learn, and succeed. That's Thalo.com. Ali Ahamadi is the Director of Products and Marketing for K-Tek, and Ali also oversees all new product development. Hello, Ali. Welcome back.
Hi.
How would you describe K-Tek?
K-Tek is a audio company from audio people for audio people.
Well, give me an example of what some of these accessories are.
So we're mostly known for our boom poles and our line of shock mounts and various other accessories that go into that field, like antenna bars and so on for shark fin antennas. And we have in the last couple of years made a name for ourselves with our Stingray bag line, I should say, which are the first audio bags made by audio people for audio people.
You've mentioned that a couple of times, by audio people for audio people. I mean, a boom pole is a stick. What do you need special tech for that?
It looks like that way on first sight, but you'd be surprised how much you can get wrong with a quote-unquote stick. And the second you have to use a stick in a professional environment makes a lot of difference. We carry 3 different lines of boom poles, and each one of those lines vary greatly.
Varies how?
First of all, there's different price points, and with the price points come different feature sets. Our premium boom poles, for example, the Classic, they have a modular design that makes it easier for the pros on the blockbuster type movies to maintain their boom pole or customize it not just on a day-by-day basis, but even from a shot-by-shot basis. You can do that by changing, for example, the bottom module, depending on what kind of application you have.
When you say it uses technology, what kind of technology and what do you need to customize?
In terms of technology, the heart of our boom poles are the graphite tubes. Graphite is a special kind of carbon fiber. So our tubes are carbon fiber composites, but they're a special kind using the graphite fiber, whereas not every carbon fiber composite is a graphite fiber. The graphite basically makes our boom poles stronger, yet lighter and thinner. So we can do things that if you were to just buy a regular carbon fiber tube, I don't know, at the hardware store, you wouldn't get that far. You wouldn't have the same kind of experience in the way the boom pole feels, both from a tactile experience as well as at an extension. We pride ourselves to having a very organic extension of the human body. So it's not a steel rod that just stands there. It has an organic bow that's light, so it's kind of like just the right amount, not too much, not too little, to give it a really organic feel at long extensions.
You talked about the bottom pipe. What technology is in the bottom segment of the pipe?
On the bottom of the bottom section, on the classic boom poles, we have what's called the bottom module. And the bottom module is basically where, if the boom pole is cabled, where this XLR signal comes out. And you can change that depending on what application, what preference you have. Do you want to put a wireless transmitter on the bottom? You can use a different bottom module than if you just plug in an XLR. If you plug in an XLR, do you prefer it to come in at a 90-degree angle to the boom pole, or do you want it to come out of the bottom like a straight exit?
We've talked about boom poles, which you guys have been doing for a long time, but tell me about this new Stingray line you mentioned.
We have a whole line of mixer bags that are more like a portable workstation than just a bag. We put a lot of thought and effort into it, lots of market research, collaboration with seasoned pros in the field, and we really pride ourselves in having a positive workstation that makes really the job of the operator easier. There's a whole line. There's a Mix Pro for the sound devices, Mix Pre 3 and Mix Pre 6, which also fits the Zoom F4 and F8 mixer recorders. And then we have a junior, a small, a medium, and a large for all the different sizes of various manufacturers' mixer recorders.
You've described this as a workstation. It's not just a sack. So what's the workstation provide that a simple bag would not?
That's actually a very good point. You choosing the word sack is a very, very accurate description. Old generation bags were basically one way or another, it was a fabric sack. Our bags actually have a rigid frame in them that's vertical. There's two frames to be exact, one on the left side, one on the right side. This gives the whole workstation a very solid frame, almost like a skyscraper would have I-beams in it for strength. And that contains all the cabling, the accessories, the wireless receivers, the wireless transmitters for an IFB, for example. And that all is then housed within the bag together with your mixer recorder. Additionally, with those side frames that are vertical, you have large openings on the side that allow you to quickly access your cabling or your data cartridges and so on. They also have a flap on the bottom. So in general, we've tried to make it very easy for you to A, configure the bag, B, reconfigure the bag, and then access the guts of your setup, which is all inside of that bag, which is very important when you are shooting on location.
Now, we just wrapped up NAB for the year. Did you announce anything new at NAB?
Yes, we announced the third generation Stingray harness, which goes in line with these bags we just talked about. Basically, when we made the Stingray harness, we tried something new. We took a lesson from military backpacks and professional hiking backpacks, and we included a metal spine on the back piece. As you can imagine, you carry these bags in front of you with all that extra payload. So that is quite a a exhausting task when all that weight just dangles off your shoulder. So what we did is we put wide hip belts on there onto our harness. We call them hip fins to go along with the Stingray theme. And then from there, you have a vertical piece of steel that is in principle an exospine. It's like a spine, but it's outside of your body. And when you set up the harness correctly, when you wear it correctly, the weight of that bag, instead of dangling off your shoulders, is transferred to that exospine and travels down outside of your back into your hips and then into your legs and the ground. So that's the physics. The difference is right there. Don't dangle the weight of a person's shoulders and then have that weight payload travel through the spine. Instead, go through this exospine that is just a piece of steel.
Are those new hip fins the only new things you announced at NAB?
No, we also announced or showed it the first time at NAB a new brand. We made a new sub-brand called Aero by K-Tek, which is a budget-conscious line for students and digital content creators. We set out to create quality tools in a budget field while still having a real company behind it that supports the products and that knows what the application is.
So what is Aero? Boom poles or bags or something else?
It's a little bit of everything. So we have a boom pole for $100, a shock mount for $30, a no frills mixer bag for $100. You get a lot of bang for your buck there. And something that was brand new at the show that nobody has ever seen before, we showed our new fuzzy windscreen for Aero. And with that, we will now be announcing a new kit, which is an intro to booming kit, a boom pole, a shock mount, a 25-foot cable, a fuzzy windscreen, and a kit bag to carry all that around for $249.95. So for $250, you get everything you need to boom with the exception of the microphone.
Ali, for people that want more information about this and all of your products, where can they go on the web?
We have our website, www.ktekpro.com. That's KTEKPRO.com. And right there, you'll also find a separate section for Aero where you can even purchase the Aero products right then and there.
That website is all one word, K-Tek-Pro, K-T-E-K-P-R-O, ktekpro.com. And Ali Ahamadi is the Director of Products and Marketing for K-Tek. Ali, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
I was just thinking, the 2018 NAB show ended 1 week ago today, and already it seems like a long, long time ago. Technology moves quickly these days. Before we get too far away from it, though, I want to share my reactions to the event. First of all, there were two groups that dominated last year's trade show that became very quiet this year: virtual reality and drones. This is not to say that either of these categories are dead, simply that our ability to make money with them did not live up to the hype. As you've heard frequently on the program over the last couple of months, virtual reality is clearly successful in creating experiences, while its ability for narrative storytelling is still being explored. New VR cameras were introduced at NAB, and all the major editing platforms support it, but the hype surrounding this new technology has subsided as we all start to figure out the best business case for using this technology. As for drones, new FAA certification requirements for pilots combined with a diminished need for drone footage from filmmakers means that drone activity has moved into different markets, such as real estate, search and rescue, as well as drilling and mining. James DeRuvo tells me that filmmaking accounts for only about 8% of all drone use. However, technology that saw a lot of interest this year included HDR, audio over IP, video over IP, shared storage, artificial intelligence, and the cloud. HDR was visible on almost every new camera, while affordable monitors started to appear from TV Logic, Flanders Scientific, and others. There's no doubt in my mind that HDR will be with us for the long term because its benefits are obvious to anyone watching TV from their couch. Artificial intelligence, which is also called AI, was powering some form of automated speech-to-text or facial recognition or automatic logging or scene detection in just about every stock media or media asset management system on the show floor. While vendors were saying it won't affect jobs, to my mind, the jury is still out on whether this improves our editorial lives or knocks more of us out of work. With the notable exception of Apple, collaboration was also a hot topic. Avid, Adobe, and Blackmagic Design were promoting editorial collaboration, while review tools from Frame.io, Whipster, as well as hardware from JVC, Clearcom, Tiger Technologies, and others, were all designed to make workgroups more efficient. Also, Apple's release of support for external GPUs, while not fully baked at the moment, extends the promise of much faster systems in the future. This year's NAB, like each one before it, seeks to define our industry at a particular moment in time. I look forward to seeing how all these trends play out over the coming year. Just something I'm thinking about. By the way, if you haven't visited nabshowbuzz.com, please make a point to go check it out. There you'll find all of our shows and all of our interviews from the 2018 NAB show. That's nabshowbuzz.com. I want to thank our guests this week, Jeff Stansfield with Advantage Video Systems, Kevin Waehner with Sennheiser, Chris Bailey with FileCatalyst, Wilson McCoy with Pronology, Ali Ahamadi with K-Tek, and James DeRuvo with doddleNEWS.com. There's a lot of history in our industry, and it's all posted to our website, digitalproductionbuzz.com. Here you'll find thousands of interviews, all online and all available to you today. And remember to sign up for our free weekly show newsletter that comes out every Saturday. Talk with us on Twitter at DPBuzz and Facebook at digitalproductionbuzz.com. Our theme music is composed by Nathan Doogie Turner with additional music provided by smartsound.com. Our producer is Debbie Price. My name is Larry Jordan, and thanks for listening to the Digital Production Buzz. The Digital Production Buzz is copyright 2018 by Thalo LLC.